Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tony Talks, Get Up and Grow, where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are doing good in the world. And this is an interactive conversation, so I encourage you to jump on in and join the conversation. We are streaming both to Facebook and to YouTube, so I invite you to invite your friends, share this link, as every Saturday, for the last several Saturdays, we are lucky enough to have a good friend of mine come on and share his wisdom and share his knowledge about our bodies and how to get out of pain. It is the one and only, the Brian Bradley. Here he is. He's straight out of 1968. What's up, brother?
How you doing, buddy?
If I was any better, I'd be twins, man. It's a beautiful day. Finally, we have a nice spring day in New Jersey, and I have been busting my hump out here, working on the garden, working with the bees, working in the backyard, and redoing the sunroom and all this other fun stuff. So, yeah, I'm gonna be doing my Egoscue tonight for sure.
Yeah, a lot of that. It's like one of the things that I wanted to talk about today was, all the stuff that I've done in the backyard, that we've tried to fix, repainting the fence and pressure washing that. And I'm going to reseal this, slate over here to make it a little bit more, shiny, but not slippery, blah, blah, blah. So reading up on that, and I'm thinking, I guess this is what COVID-19's done to me. That's made me wear camouflage, buy a shotgun, and start doing shit around the house. So, if that's the positive, that's a positive.
Nothing wrong with that. That is something nice that you bought. I'm not going to be able to get that one because they've limited the capacity in New Jersey. So anyway, enough about that. So listen, I would just want to thank you for coming on here again. And as you've come on the last several Saturdays, we have more and more people jumping in to really learn from you and the Egoscue method. And really what I love about it, like I said, I was actually sharing some of that of your teachings with a friend of mine who says, dude, my back has been killing me. I've been going to chiropractor. I said, have you been watching our Saturday episodes? He's like, man, I can't because, he owns a restaurant. So this is his busy time. I said, I'm going to tag you on it so you can always watch it later on. But I shared some of the exercises while I was there picking up some food on Friday. So I don't know, he's not here, but Joe, I know you're going to be watching this later. So we're going to be talking about that mid back and upper back pain. And, I was telling him about, obviously the elbow press and obviously the sitting down with the 90-degree, the elevation of the legs and the towel rolls underneath the bed, that underneath your back and your neck, which I've been doing just about every night. So those have been great. So
anyway, is that you're talking about the elbow curls to do this, you're doing this kind of stuff. If I had to tell you, like if you were teaching that and I said, hey, Tony, teach that today on your live and explain to the customers what it's doing, the first thing that would come to mind is we're working on the upper back and the shoulders. Working on the upper back and shoulders, but there's the action, where's the reaction? Right. So I'll tell you what people could do when we'll do this in a little bit. We'll talk about the elbow curls where you're basically in this position, just gliding and opening, and it would be done standing with your feet 5 degrees turned in, fist width apart. But wouldn't it be kind of cool if you could go for a walk barefoot across your house or your yard or whatever and feel your foot strike, or you have some plantar fasciitis or some ankle and foot differences, and then you do those elbow curls, then take the same walk, and don't ask yourself how it feels. Ask yourself what's different. Put that mindset in there already. Sink it into your central nervous system. Because when you ask what's different, you're already looking for something that's different, which means you'll pay attention even more. And come to me, I've had this podiatrist in Escondido here. I think his name was actually for real, Dr. Fever. I don't know why he chose feet. I would have chosen probably proctology, but it would have been a different thing with Dr. Fever, with gloves on. It would be a whole different story. Take me to dinner first, Doc. I'll let that one sink in for a little bit. Can you imagine him coming in and he was kyphotic and he had been doing feet his whole life and really supinated, his feet were on the outside. He'd wear all his shoes on the outside. Like everything was, as he hit the ground, it would hit out here and then come across his big toe. A bunion was forming. This was flatter on the outside than on the inside. If you look at the back of your shoe, like that's pretty level, for a Nike Free. That's literally, I'll bet this shoe is minimum 6 years old. I still have, I'll wear it because I buy shoe color, let's be honest. And you think about it, he walked with his hands on his head, and then I had him do this, and his feet came right into the supinated position. Supinated
Amazing.
meaning you're rolling out or you're holding a bowl of soup. That's how I remembered it in an anatomy class. But when you're looking at that kind of stuff, I never heard from him again because it challenged everything he did the last 30 years. Instead of me saying, Doc, why don't I 5 times your business instead? Why don't we build 5 sets of orthotics for your customer, decrease the cost on them, normally 600, let's make them 300. Now you're going to make 1,500, but you're going to step them down to barefoot, which is what I want to talk about today, if you don't mind. A friend of mine owns a shoe company that we'll talk about in a second, and he's not coming on to promote. I didn't bring him on to promote. I don't get anything out of it, all that stuff. But when you hear why he started his business, when I met him at Paleo FX, and I was walking around with an Agoscu logo on, he stopped us and was like, look, the reason why he started his business was because of meeting Pete Agoscu years ago, and then he formed a barefoot shoe company. And great name, Xero Shoes, from a standpoint of let's get ourselves to zero instead of here, whatever that most of the other shoes will do. So I have 4 pair here, from the Vibram Fivefingers to a pair of Xeros to a pair of Nike Free to another pair of Nike. And when Nike came to us years ago to help us, they wanted advice on how to build a more stable platform shoe for kids. Now think about that. You want your kid, like where you live, Tony, and where I grew up in PA and stuff, and what we've created on here is go barefoot as much as possible. But they were trying to build a shoe that is already speaking to, we want you to be less barefoot, more stable. It'll make the kid safer. And honestly, I couldn't give two about being safe as a kid other than somebody stealing you, right? I'm talking about go to the playground, fall, scrape your knee, all that stuff. We need to think that way as adults too, because we're going to be coming out of COVID-19 whenever. If you're living in LA, you'll probably never get out. But at least some other cities might be opening up a little bit. And it is very serious. So let's be for real about that. But we're eventually going to start pushing that direction. Like your friend with the restaurant, he might open up to 25% capacity, but at least he's servicing people. People are remembering who he is. And when it gets more, they'll remember that he was there. But as we start going from 800 steps a day at the maximum, that's what we're getting. 800. There were people getting 10,000. So if they go back to 10,000, they're in some serious trouble because they're going to take a body that's so deconditioned to the point where my therapists are calling me going, something's wrong with this person that I've been working with for a while. They've never reacted to this exercise this way. They took their arm and went like this, and their arm dislocated or subluxed.
Wow.
That's an easy fix. I mean, once you go back up and change the pelvis, the shoulder will relocate. But the idea is that they were doing something in the gym or out of the gym or at home. And then we say, let's buy the Peloton and exercise at home and be healthy. And the Peloton is going to put you in this position. It never puts your legs front to back. And I'm not busting on Peloton. I'm actually, thinking about purchasing one only because of the difference in workouts, but prep yourself for it. So as people are going, can we work out as soon as we're off of this? Can we go and just get back to our normal life? The answer is no, you really can't. Or it is going to bite you in the backside for real. So when you look at shoes, like this is a Nike Free, and you'll see that on the bottom, it's split, right? So the Nike Free moves. You can twist it. You can almost put this 4.0 in your pocket. This shoe, which I know Tony's jealous about because of camouflage and reminds him of, almost what he wore to his wedding. So looking at this, that's the Fivefinger shoe. Great outdoor shoe, indoor shoe, in the gym, whatever. Has a little bit of support in here. I see that. But the great thing is the shoe is put it in my pocket. And it does protect you, other than if you drop something on there. Well, then you kind of come to the medium. You come to a Xero shoe. Super light. Again, twists. Completely folds up on itself like this. And protective outerwear. This. You can sprint in it, run in it, do whatever. And it's completely level platform. I'll let the expert talk about those later. What's holding my computer up is another Nike shoe, which is, it's kind of a one that I would say, let me wear that on stage somewhere because it makes me taller. But look at this. And I'm trying to bend the shoe, bro. But from here back, nothing's happening. There's no mid shoe movement at all. And some people may react to that and say, I don't do well with super stable shoes like this. Well, you don't have to specifically wear a full barefoot shoe, but doing something a little bit more barefoot might do you some good. Walking around and at least get your 800 steps you're getting right now. Maybe make those in something that's a little bit more barefoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, though I'm fortunate. I live on a little bit of space, and so I walk barefoot in my grass all the time. And I'm still getting my 8,000 to 10,000 steps in a day anyway, and because I walk every morning, so I'm getting those in anyway. So I'm not falling too far behind on that. But there are so many people that they're probably walking a couple hundred steps at most, and that's just from the living room to the kitchen to the bathroom to the bedroom to the living room, and they're not moving very much at all. So it is important. I think that's a brilliant point, that people can't go from not going to the gym for the last month and now thinking they're going to get back on, or they're going to go out and run those 3-4 miles that they were running, but they haven't run in a month or month and a half. And that's how people get hurt. So very important.
Hey, can you entertain for 10 seconds? I'm going to go get an umbrella because I think my computer is going to overheat.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Awesome. So happy to have so many of you guys come on. Hey, Anne-Marie. Thanks for coming on. Let's see. Ask questions. Tell Brian about your pain. He will help you and your mom. Yes, when Brian comes back on, ask the question. That's the beauty of having the opportunity to have Brian on and having so many guests on. And as I said in the beginning, this isn't just a conversation with myself and Brian, but it's a conversation with all of you as well. So when he comes back on, let's absolutely ask the question, and we will answer it, or he will answer it. And yes, if you're wondering what the heck is that walking around behind me, those are chickens. It's true. And I let them kind of go around, and I've got bees as well. And there's one kind of flying around me here. Hopefully she doesn't come and give me a kiss. So yeah, so important to now that the world is starting to open up. And hopefully it will continue to open up. Oh, wait, this is great. You got to catch this.
It's partly nice. In San Diego right now.
It's that I like it. I like it. That's so good.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's getting a little warmish.
Yeah. Your computer will definitely overheat. My phone does it all the time if I leave it out. So someone actually said that they had a question. So Anna, ask a question. Whenever you ask it, we'll try to answer it. I guess there's some pain that they're dealing with that both Anna and her mom are dealing with. So when they ask the question, I'll pose it and we'll see what we come up with. So we were just talking about getting back into the routine, getting back to our exercises and everything else. By the way, nice hairdo. When did you do that? I'm still working on my Rona do. I haven't done it. I had my wife kind of trim up the sides, but I've got like a really fat mohawk going at this point. Oh, I see. That's what you got. You've got like a mohawk. Dude, I've got the same thing going.
I did it myself. I walked downstairs and my family was like this. Get out.
That's what my wife said. She's like, what have you done? What have you done? So then she tried to straighten it up a little bit for me. I'm like, thank you. Look, I said, we can't get a haircut yet.
You just don't turn around. It's fine.
You can't see it. Don't worry about it. Don't look at it. Don't look at it. If you don't look at it, it goes away. So hold on. So Anne-Marie is asking, Brian, what about Hoka 2 sneakers for daily walking? Plantar fasciitis and sciatica, as you know.
Listen, I've seen the Hokas. It's almost like you're wearing one of those mini trampolines that we all do on your feet. A lot of people run distance in them. I really never had a pair of them on, so I can't say yay or nay. But I will tell you, it's a lot of shoe. But I guess it depends on what you're using it for. I think that going barefoot is really good for you, especially if we start looking at grounding and the energy coming from grounding. And now we're going to get a little esoteric and move down Eastern philosophy and American kind of Indian kind of line of thinking, which I think a lot of us could use. It's more of, become one. You want to feel what you're walking on. Like playing golf, not barefoot, but in five-finger shoes, was a game changer for me. Like,
really, I gotta order those again.
It was so worth it. It was so worth it. Like to be able to feel like you could walk across a green and feel where the undulation in the green was, which helped me read. And that's when I was on the PGA Tour, which never happened. So I just want to let you get that out there that I'm BSing you, but to be able to play golf. Tony Robbins and I were playing golf one time out at the Tradition course in Palm Springs, and we brought 2 golf pros with us, one from TPI, Titleist Performance, and the other one from, I think, the Tradition Club. And they were going to help, okay, Tony wants to learn, blah, blah, blah. And I see him getting frustrated. He's been a client of mine for 20 years, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, bro, it's not that you're not getting your hands through. It's that your hips aren't coming through. So to answer the question about those Hoka shoes, if your hips are stable and your upper back is mobile, stable with it, and you have a natural curve in your spine, I don't care if you play in 6-inch stilettos. I really couldn't care.
That'd probably really anchor you in if you're wearing a 6-inch stiletto.
Oh, if you were wearing them, I'd probably go, I got to see how this is going to turn out. Not for any other reason.
I do hear that you're like a pretty good golfer, that you shoot like a 75, 78, but that's just on the first 9.
I do. That's like saying, like when somebody says, what's your percent body fat? I said, I'm about 5%. And they're like, really, are you? And I said, yeah, 5% here, 5% here, 5 here, and probably about 12 here. So I'm right around 32%. And it's almost like when you go to get your teeth flossed and they're going 6, 5, 6, 5. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, I must be doing well because I thought the higher score was better. No, 0, 1, 2 is better. Back on track. But from those shoes, I would say, well, I know my barefoot friends would say, get out of them right away, or people from another foot business would say this. But I'm looking at it going, wear whatever shoe you want, but train for it. Get your body as stable as possible. Now, I just happen to be very big fans of when I ran into the Vibram Fivefingers. I fell in love with them because it was an amazing conversation starter when they first came out.
Yeah.
Now, these I don't wear very often because it never leads to a conversation because they're camouflage and nobody can see your feet anyway. But these, when I wear these to the gym to do stuff, literally I get stopped. They're like, dude, I've been wearing Xero Shoes to do powerlifting for this. What do you think about it? And I'm like, well, I absolutely love them. They fit every aspect of being barefoot to me, from the standpoint of, are there other ones out there? Yeah, I think there's Lems. There's probably some Nike Free 3.0s, stuff like that. But, from what I saw with these, I mean, there's enough variety. They make boots, they make these sandals, and the thought process behind them is a lot of fun.
Yeah, your timing couldn't be better because Steven stepped into the green room just a couple of minutes ago. So let me bring him on. Hey, Steven, how are you?
I'm really angry that you called me to be on here because I literally just finished a track workout, which is why I look like crap.
Well, I can tell that the makeup artist was not in the green room.
I fired my makeup artist years ago because she just couldn't do anything to make this look any better. And I just figured, all right, screw it, I'm wasting all the money.
This is what we're getting today. Is that what you're saying?
This is all we get. I can give you some other views, but they're not as good as this one.
No.
That's great.
And by the way, it was a socially distant track workout. I was in lane 8. My training partner was in lane 4.
Mine would be socially distanced because my ass would be at the back and everybody else would be forward of me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing. So I'm a competitive sprinter, and I think all the meets this year have been canceled already. So I don't know what I'm out there doing other than, having fun.
And what age are you?
I'll be 58 in a couple weeks.
So guys, think about what he just said. I'm a competitive sprinter at the age of 58. But
Oh.
you're talking about someone who lives in the field that they created out of a thought and out of a need. Well, first of all, let me introduce you. Steven, say hello to Tony. Tony, say hello to Steven.
Pleasure, Tony.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you as well. You just did something that I do as well. I say hi and bye to people by doing this. And I've never seen anyone else do it. I love that you did that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when he and I are finished, there are 2 fingers in the peace sign, but he chooses to put one of them down.
Well, no, I go like this, except I kind of go off screen like this.
You got to go.
Hold on.
You got to figure out the right way to go. Wait, hold on.
What are you doing when I?
That's tricky, man. That's hard to do.
Yeah, because this is actually flipped. It's like as if you were looking at someone instead of the mirror.
Yeah, it's faking me out. I don't like it.
I feel like I'm on the Love Connection because you guys are like, we'll be back in 2 and 2.
Well, but wait, I want to back up. I'm gonna pat myself on the back, a little extra street cred. I'm not only a competitive sprinter at 58. I'm a Masters All-American, which means I'm one of the fastest guys in my age group over 55.
Wow.
And for men over 55, you may be talking to the fastest Jew in the world.
Nice.
Not a lot of competition.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah. So I came in on this.
Shalom. Okay.
Yeah, it's that's how they start the race. It's on your mark, set, shalom. It's just not. It's not as. It doesn't really get you going the same.
Hey, come on, the sense of humor. This is perfect.
All right then. These two Jews walk into a bar. They own it. That's an old joke. Anyway, so I came in on the barefoot conversation and the footwear conversation. I didn't hear where this all began. So where to go?
About these. I mean, you might know what they are. Yep. We were also talking about these. We were talking about, and because my boy is a big fan of camo, we were also talking about Nike and how they, when they quote started the idea of barefoot, what they did, and where they really helped the market maybe blossom a little bit. And I think they've lost.
Well, they lost it. They didn't actually have it to begin with. What happened with that Nike Free? And by the way, Egoscue turned me on to the Nike Free. So, and also to what was then Terra Plana, and it's now our friendly competitor Vivo Barefoot out of the UK. And so that was my introduction to barefoot. The Nike Free, the thing that it did, the sole articulated so you could feel a little more, but the idea that it was anything close to barefoot was just not remotely true. It's still got a big heel, still got a flared sole, still so much padding that you can't feel anything really, and it still squeezes your toes together. Turn it so you can see the shape of the toe box on the Nike one. So yeah, look at the difference. I mean, that's not the shape of your foot. And your foot is not pointy. Your foot tends to do this. Right. And so, I mean, the simplest thing I always say, I ask people when they ask me what I do for a living, I go, let me ask you a weird question. Do your feet feel better at the end of the day than they did at the beginning of the day? And if your answer is no, it's because your shoes aren't letting your feet do what they're supposed to do, which is bend and flex and move and feel. And if you don't let your feet do that job, all that function, which is about balance and agility and mobility, tries unsuccessfully to move upstream to your ankle, your knee, your hip, your back. And so the whole idea really is just letting your feet do their job so that your rest of your body can do its job. And if you're wearing shoes that squeeze your toes together, that elevate your heel, that don't let you feel the ground, that are too stiff, too heavy, then your shoes are getting in the way of letting your feet do their job.
Fascinating. Well, this is great. This is great for me because, I'm forever looking for the better, more comfortable shoe. And I am a barefoot guy. Like I was telling, well, now I know. Thank you, Brian.
Well, this is our Speed Force. This is the lightest, closest to barefoot shoe that we make. Can't see if you can see it. This thing weighs, this is a men's 9. It weighs about 5 ounces.
Let me just go.
Look at that.
9.
Thanks. So the thing about our shoes, and pardon all the schmutz from the track on the bottom, but wide toe box, low to the ground for balance and agility. We don't elevate the heel or have toe spring. Again, it's crazy flexible in pretty much every direction you can think of. And the sole is designed to give you the right and for all of our shoes and sandals, to give you the right combination of ground feedback so your brain knows what's going on at the bottom of your body, so it knows how to effectively and enjoyably control the rest, and also give you the protection and the traction and the grip that you need. And all of our soles are backed with a 5,000-mile sole warranty, unlike most shoes where they say you have to replace them every 1 to 300 miles. And again, they're crazy lightweight and designed here, wait, I'll show you one of our sandals. So this will look familiar if you think like Chaco Tevaquin, except that again, super thin, super lightweight, really protective. 3 pairs of these weigh less than a pair of Chacos, for example.
Wow. Fantastic. Sounds like I've got to go shopping.
I know a guy who knows a guy. He can help you out.
All right, good.
Question.
I walk anywhere between 3 and 5 miles every morning. And so, I'm always looking for, something that's waterproof when it's raining or, insulated for the winter. And, now this time of year, well, not yet, it's a little cold, but I walk in the river with the kids. So,
nice.
So I'm always looking for shoes or something that I pay attention to because if it doesn't, I don't care how it looks. If it doesn't feel good, I don't wear it.
Absolutely. Comfort's the most important thing. Where do you live?
I live in New Jersey, of all places, believe it or not. I live in Bedminster, New Jersey.
Where's that? Which part of Jersey is that?
Near Morristown.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Well, I know Morristown really well.
Yeah, it's now made famous by Trump National Golf Course, which is down the street.
It was made famous for me by an ex-girlfriend, but that was 40 years ago. So it was made famous for me because I got a ticket there and had to go argue with the judge, and that was when I learned not to argue with a judge.
Yeah. Well, do you live? Where do you live?
We're in between Boulder and Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
We're in the middle of beautiful. I mean, you got beautiful backgrounds behind you. I'm inside. So, so to answer your question, I mean, every one of those things you said, we have shoes that do. We have different products that do all those things, and some products that do a number of those things. So we have casual and performance shoes and sandals. People use for everything from taking a walk to running ultra marathons. We've had a couple run a 256K 7-day stage race across Madagascar. We had a guy take our lightweight hiking boots and take them up Kilimanjaro. And of course, we have people who are just on their feet all day, doctors, nurses, factory workers, you name it. And so we have some waterproof things. We have some water resistant things. We have water friendly things. We have don't get them in the water things, everything in between.
Oh, fantastic. Listen, man, I'm my wife's always looking for comfortable shoes as well, because she's a nurse. So she's always looking for something to that, because they're contrary to popular belief, nurses rarely sit down during shifts.
Right.
Especially
yeah. I mean, the thing that, again, if you have, well, how do I want to say this? The shoe companies have convinced us in the last 50 years that there are things that we need, like arch support and motion control and a bunch of cushioning. And all the research shows that the exact opposite is true. Let's start with arch support. If you support any joint, imagine putting your arm in a cast. What happens over time? Does it get stronger? Yeah, it atrophies and gets weaker. Same thing with your foot. Let's talk about motion control. Do you actually think this little bit of foam, well, let me say it slightly differently. When you hit the ground, let's say you're running for the fun of it, you typically hit the ground with between 3 and 6 times your body weight worth of force. So a 150-pound person's landing with 450 to 750 pounds of force. Do you really think that little bit of foam is going to prevent you from doing something with your foot? No. Cushioning, again, the real issue, you have more nerve endings in the sole of your feet than anywhere but your fingertips and your lips. Clearly, you're supposed to use these things. They're supposed to feel the world and send information to your brain about how to move correctly. With all that cushioning, you can't feel those things. And basically, this is a case of use it or lose it. So over time, if you're not using it, you're starting to lose it. You lose that balance, that mobility, that strength, that function. You can always get it back. It's never too late to build up strength and then wake up your brain again. And if you don't, I don't want to paint a horrible picture, but I'm going to anyway. My dad was the perfect example of, the lose it part of use it or lose it. 5 years ago, he's 81 years old. He's walking down a hallway, trips on a ledge about, an inch high, falls down, breaks hip, and is dead 2 weeks later. Now, for those of us who are middle age and younger, we can't imagine that happening to us, except that it happens to millions of people every year. And so, part of the goal is to make it so that your body can support you for the rest of your life, instead of trying to go in this vicious, horrible cycle of needing more and more support, more and more cushion, more and more things that don't let your body do what's natural. Our goal is to remind people that they can rediscover that natural movement is the obvious better choice, the same way natural food is.
Yeah, I love it. Listen, there's a saying that I read a while ago, and I posted it once before. It says, the goal is to die young as late as possible.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Possible. So you don't want to die after like dragging and being barely alive for, just surviving for 5 years. You want to have a healthy lifestyle and be as mobile as possible. At least that's my take on it.
Well, and if you want to have fun, when you can, find a good Masters track meet if they ever happen again, like the Senior Games, or there's Masters National, because you'll see people in their 80s and 90s. There was a guy, when we went to the World Championships 10 years ago, there was a 101-year-old guy who came out on his walker to the field events. He came out on his walker, put it down. He took like 2 steps. They handed him the shot put, which for a 101-year-old guy, I think it weighed like 5 pounds. And, he goes, ugh, and it goes like 10 feet, and the crowd goes crazy. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of people who are living, as actively as you can. And you just look at all of them. I want to be that guy. I want to be that woman. I want to be that one. I want to be that one. It's super fun.
And that falls right into Tony's world of what Rodriguez does. Is he's counseling people sometimes and coaching them just to go, well, you're at a crossroads. You have a choice, left or right. Why are you always choosing left when the right might be, something that could be different? Well, I'm scared. hey, I understand this is fear. Let's explain where it comes from and why you don't make those choices. And is staying the same route and comfortable doing you any good? No, I'm still miserable. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. I'm 40 pounds overweight, and I eat this kind of. Well, then that's great. Just make a different choice.
Well, comfort is a very interesting thing because there's short-term comfort and long-term comfort, and we often confuse the two. So people will, get in shoes that have a bunch of memory foam in them. First of all, there's a guy named Jeffrey Gray. He runs a footwear, what's the word I'm looking for? Analysis, evaluation, research company called Helix. And his research shows what hundreds of other people have done with their research, and that is that cushioning is fundamentally bad for you. It doesn't reduce impact loading. In fact, this is an ironic thing. When you put a bunch of padding under your foot and you can't feel anything, your brain often tells you to land harder because it's trying to get feedback.
Wow.
But here's the thing we love to say about cushioning. If I asked you to drop and do some push-ups, do you want to do it on a memory foam mattress or do you want to do it on the ground? I mean, you do it on the ground because that's how you get the most force in the right angles in the right way. Well, it's the same thing. You got better than any cushioning that starts to wear out the moment you start to use it. You got a built-in set of springs and shock absorbers called your muscles, ligaments, and tendons, and they don't really wear out. They get tired and you rest them and they come back, but they don't wear out like that. And so, cushioning can feel really good, but that doesn't mean it's good for you. I was in the airport at Denver International Airport. There's a guy in front of me. He's in his shoes. He'd worn out the cushioning on the inside, so his feet were like at this angle. There we go, that angle. And I whipped out my phone and took a video of him from like the navel down, just from the back. And this will say a lot about social media. I posted it on Facebook, and all these people were saying, "Oh my God, look how horrible those shoes are for his body. It's messing up his knees. It's messing up his hips." We posted it on Instagram, and people are like, "I can't believe you're body shaming that guy." It's like, body shaming? It's a picture of the guy from, the waist down. I don't know who the hell he is. I didn't say he was fat or thin, or I just showed that his feet were out of whack because of his shoes. So, cushioning is feels great in the moment, but not great for you.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm not a runner. I'm a walker. I tell people all the time, if you see me running, you should run too, because something's chasing me. But with that said, I do put a lot of miles on.
Yeah.
So I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to going on and seeing the different varieties. Sounds like I might be getting a whole bunch of different shoes for different events or different.
We run this sort of fine line. We want to give people products that work for the things that they want them for, but we're not trying to make products just for no reason. Like I was on a panel discussion at the American College of Sports Medicine with a guy from Brooks and a guy from Adidas. And the guy from Brooks, essentially said, we're trying to make a different shoe for everything that you do. I mean, they may as well have said, we want to make a shoe that you wear when you walk into the bathroom, and then a different shoe when you walk out of the bathroom because you weigh less now. And I mean, it's sometimes they're doing this just to kind of confuse people and sell them more. Like when the whole minimalist thing first took off, a lot of companies that were big shoe companies said, well, you can't just switch to something that's low to the ground and barefoot. You got to go from here to here to here to here. And they made like 4 shoes in the way. There's no evidence that that's useful at all. In fact, it doesn't help in any way. So they were just doing things to try to sell you more stuff that you don't need, which always blows me away.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that is corporate greed, I guess, at its finest, right? I mean, but then again, they've got shareholders to answer to. So I'm not a fan of that, but unfortunately, that's the world we live in.
It is.
So it's great to have options. It's great to have other people that are out there like you guys giving the options too.
Well, it's actually even different than an option. If you look at the history of footwear, for the first 99.995% of human history, all footwear looked like ours. The shoes, if they were basically something to give you some protection and something to hold that on your foot, and if it's cold, something to give you a little more warmth. If it's warm, it doesn't really matter. The modern athletic shoe, the thing we think of as normal, is only about 50 years old. And again, people say to us, where's the proof of what you're doing? And I go, well, I got a whole bunch, but hold on. But the question is, where's the proof for what they're doing? I mean, Nike just came out with they have a new shoe and they advertise it as designed to reduce injury. Well, sure, they designed it that way. And then they paid for a study that they also designed to have a research company do, or a university, I think. And they say it's an independent study because someone else did it. But regardless, they paid for it, they designed it. And yeah, their new shoe did in fact reduce injury by 50% over the other shoe, which was their best-selling motion-controlled running shoe. What they didn't tell you, and you have to look carefully, is during the first 10 weeks, roughly the first 10 to 11 weeks of a 12-week study, 15% of the people in their new shoe got injured. 30%, over 30% of the people in their best-selling motion control shoe got injured. What? I mean, this is, blows me away that that's okay. That's normal. We expect that. It's not okay.
Yeah, that is nuts. That is nuts. I always get a kick out of, the studies that are done, that are conducted by them, paid for by them, done by their people.
It's a tricky thing. We would love to sponsor more research about natural movement. But of course, if we sponsor it, people are going to say, well, it's all tainted. There are many people already doing this research that they don't need. Well, they would love to have more money to do more research. But Sarah Ridge at BYU did a study that showed if you just walk in a pair of minimalist shoes, truly minimalist shoes, and I'll highlight that in a second, you get the same strengthening benefits in your feet as you do if you do an actual foot exercise program. There's another study that shows the opposite. You take healthy athletes, healthy runners, put arch support in their shoes, and within 10 weeks, or 12 weeks, they've lost up to 10% of the muscle mass in their foot. It's not good. Irene Davis at Harvard has done a lot of research on natural movement, and she actually is the one who delineated between what she calls minimalist and partial minimalist shoes. I interviewed her on my podcast, and I said, I think you're being politically correct, and what you really mean is true minimalist and fake minimalist. And she didn't, let's just say she didn't disagree with me. Right. But in the true minimalist camp, there's us, there's Fivefingers, there's some shoes from Vivo Barefoot, and then all the major shoe companies, all of those, she tested those and found that they're partial minimalist, and in fact are worse for you, can be worse for you than regular shoes, because they have enough cushioning that you don't feel the ground enough to alter your gait properly into something natural, and you're going to still overstride and heel strike and do all those things that are not good for you. What is that?
Hold on, let's see.
What is it? I can't
see.
Oh,
yeah, look at that ankle. Ooh.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's crazy. And here's what's so interesting. So again, this is not about footwear, it's about form. It just so happens that certain footwear makes it hard or impossible to have natural form where you're using your body correctly. And if you're running correctly or even walking correctly, where you're not putting your foot way out in front of you. Here, let me do this differently. So when the original idea, oh man, all right, sorry, too many ideas. Way back when, Bill Bowerman from Nike was in an office building with some sports podiatrists or orthopedic podiatrists, and he said to them, we got all these people coming in who are getting Achilles tendonitis. What do you recommend we do? They said, well, they probably shortened their Achilles from wearing high-heeled dress shoes, so make a higher-heeled running shoe, and that'll help them. And so once you have a higher heel, it's basically impossible not to land on it. And if you land on your heel is a ball, so now it's unstable. So now you need motion control. And if you land with your foot in front of your body, by the time it comes down, your foot is fully extended when you want it to be contracted. So it's like doing a bicep curl, I don't know, doing a bicep curl. All right, cool. It's like doing a bicep curl. This is where you're weakest. This is where you're stronger. So the same thing with your foot. Your foot is stronger when it's engaged. It's weaker when it's flat. Well, if you land with your foot in front of you, it comes down flat. So you have the motion control issue and the inability to use your plantar fascia correctly to hold your foot in place correctly. So if you land more midfoot or on your forefoot, that massive pronation that you saw in that picture, it's practically impossible to do. Besides, pronation is a fake problem anyway. If you look at world champion distance runners.
Hold on. You got to say that again to make sure people heard it.
Okay.
This is a vast distinction of what everybody's been told.
Yeah. Well, they've been told pronation is a fake problem. It was made up by the guy who came up with the notion of putting an orthotic in your shoe to put your foot in some particular orientation. But if you look at the research, there's no correlation between pronation and injuries or any other problems. Zero. And if you look at world champion runners, a lot of them pronate more than you've ever seen a human being pronate. Their ankle bone on the inside practically touches the ground with every stride, because that's part of the natural spring-like motion of your lower body. It's been completely bastardized so that people who could basically, I want to say lie to you, but that's disingenuous. Many of them don't know any better, but they're selling you something for which there's no evidence that you need.
Which if you think about this, because I know, Tony, Gordon from Align and Align Systems, when we were talking about pronation, supination, most people in that field, and I'm meeting with a couple of podiatrists up in LA who literally are having their mind blown, and we're just sharing information, and I'm just giving them the hard truth. in biomechanics. When that foot does this, you can't just do this.
Right.
It's not, hey, my fence is falling over, I'm going to put up a piece of wood to hold it. It's not the same thing. The fence is not dynamic. The foot is dynamic. The true ankle joint is dynamic. So when you're talking about, when I was talking to Gordon about just like a trailer hitch coming up from underneath, which then allows that foot to get into that gripping motion, frees up the cuboid over here. Now you're talking about something where I went, okay, you're not a supinator guy, because in his mind, he was like, no, because pronation, supination are not the problem here.
Right. Well, and what Gordon's doing isn't the same thing as most orthotics. He's not trying to post you into some ideal position that is just completely fictional.
Yeah, I know Dave Asprey now is wearing the from Bulletproof, the 5-finger Vibrams, but he's cut his A-lines and put the A-lines inside of them.
No way.
Oh yeah, well, he's such a good dude in the sense that he'll kick his own ass before he sells it to the public, which is what I really like about him.
My problem with Dave Asprey is that he's a size 16, which is just insane, and we go up to 15. So I keep threatening to try and squeeze him into a shoe, or give him. We have one leather shoe we could probably stretch to get around his elephant feet.
Wow, 16. That's a big foot.
That is a big.
I mean, he's a tall dude, but I didn't realize he was damn.
Yeah, we took a picture in the back of when he was speaking at UPW, and he'd come on before I went on. And as he came off stage, we were talking, and I made sure that I stood on the stair so that we were eye to eye. And I'm like this. I'm like, I didn't want him to feel like he was a badass, and I wasn't. I'm like, what's up?
So you're suggesting that when I meet with him, I need to bring a stepladder with me, because I'm a whopping 5'5" on a good day.
Nice.
So let me answer Dan's question.
Yeah,
so
we have.
The answer is, I mean, look, the best shoe you can wear is no shoe, frankly. Just go barefoot and walk around, and take it easy. Don't go crazy, but just like go to the mailbox and back, assuming you have to walk to your mailbox, or go to the end of your driveway and back.
Yeah, that's the key. You would not go to the gym and say, I'm going to go to the gym and do a day 90 CrossFit workout. No, on day one, you need to start out with, I'm going to walk to the gym, and I'm going to run and walk home. I'm not going to do the workout. A week later you walk to the gym, and then you do your workout, then you walk home. And then a month later you're going, I'm sprinting to the gym, I'm doing 500 pull-ups, and then of course I'll get hurt and I have to do a Egoscue. But still, you have to look at it from the standpoint of, you have to go in with a minimalist workout when you're going into a minimalist shoe. Do not go, I suggest, even with the A-lines, I told Gordon this, I said, we've got to get, and I'm sorry, I have this little bird's nest right behind me too. I think he wants to be on film. But it's getting somebody to go minimalist and spend 2 hours in their shoe or 2 hours in their A-line, then it's a different story, because otherwise, sometimes I said, Gordon, I said, no offense, brother. First couple of days, my feet were aching. He goes, yep, you had the foot ache. He goes, because it's like that golf ball up underneath there. Same thing with the barefoot shoe. When you're looking at this and all of a sudden your foot's able to do this, when it hasn't been able to do that because you've been wearing those black Nikes that are holding up my computer, that's a problem.
Well, I say when people ask me about barefoot running, I go, here's the simplest instruction. Take off your shoes, because that's going to give you the most feedback. Find a nice, smooth, hard surface, because that's going to give you the most feedback. Go for a super short run, like 20 seconds, and then check and see how you feel the next day. If you weren't having fun, do something different till you are. Or if it hurts, do something different till you're having fun. Oh, coon dog.
Brian.
His voice is a little higher this week, if you know what I'm saying.
That's why it's terrible.
Are you suggesting that if I get snipped, I get to wear a cone too?
Dude.
And you can sing opera.
I can't wait till you're with us the next time we're together. I'm going to bring a cone just to bring it.
I would love to walk around with a cone. I think that'd be hysterical.
Well, if it's big enough, it'll give you the 6-foot social distancing thing.
No, then you just need to wear what are those hoop skirts? You just need to wear a hoop skirt. I was in the grocery store today, and there was a guy. Everyone's wearing masks, and there's one guy who was not wearing masks, and he was like walking around being really cocky. And I was tempted to walk up and cough in his face, but then I was thinking it would be interesting to walk up and just ask him, "What would you do if I started coughing in your face?" I mean, I know people have a lot of opinions about this. I feel good when I'm walking around with a mask. I feel like I'm doing something to help everybody. This is not a personal thing. It's not just about me.
It's not about you at all. The reality of it is that mask, unless you're wearing a super high-tech mask, that mask does nothing for what's coming into that, what you're breathing in. It actually protects you from, or protects other people from what's coming out of your mouth.
Well, I wrote a blog post and did a little podcast rant about it, saying, look, how do you run safely during COVID? The easiest thing to do is just imagine or pretend, if you can, that you're contagious and you don't want to infect other people. If you do that, then you're going to be taking care of yourself too. And why wouldn't you want to be nice to other people?
Yeah.
I mean, is it really that inconvenient?
Well, there's this stuff. We were on Facebook. My cousin posted something, and she's just going on a rant. And I get it. It's based on fear. She's pregnant, a little worried about bringing a kid into the world. And I just said, look, what you're doing is you are posting a fearmonger article that supposedly has facts to it. With the new article that came out in San Diego today that, and this was by the health. Give me a second, I'll find it for you. It was for Supervisor San Diego, said that only 6 pure coronavirus deaths happened in San Diego out of, say, the last 200. 6 were pure COVID, but 200 were labeled COVID. Because you got to remember, you're getting $13,000 or something like that for a COVID death. Now remember, there's your right wing side, and then your left wing side says, life's over, we're doing this. So now you have both of these things over here that are now trying to mold people. And I said, listen, make sure that the article that you're saying isn't one that started in Shanghai. Because I went to Wikipedia and looked it up and said, by the way, this article came from this research firm in the US that's banked by a place in Shanghai. It doesn't mean it's bad that it started in Shanghai.
Yeah, just got to look.
But it does make you think, who starts this?
You gotta check.
This morning that was right-wing driven, and I said, here's the antithesis.
Right.
Now you got to make your informed decision and get in the middle.
Well, right now we're living in a time of tremendous uncertainty. Human beings are not wired for uncertainty, and anything that we can find that's going to mesh with what we believe or want to believe, that's going to let us not feel so out of control, that's what people do. And sometimes it's great, and sometimes not so much.
Yeah, listen, the extremists on either side are scare me more than COVID does. Not that scares me, but you know what I mean. It's
sure.
There's more of the problem than the solution. But the reality of it is, listen, everybody just got to be a little bit more careful and do things a little bit differently. That's all. I mean, listen, we'll get through this. There's been other plagues, and there's been other pandemics and epidemics and everything else, and inevitably there will be more, and hopefully we'll be more prepared next time it comes around. So it is. Listen, we've got to do whatever we've got to do to stay healthy. I love the fact that I can now look into Xero Shoes, and I'm excited to see the different options of the different things. Yeah, we'll exchange information after the show. So just hang out, and then we'll chat for a few minutes afterwards.
Sure.
So listen, but I want to be respectful of, because I did ask people to ask questions. So Dana was asking about the best shoe for her because she's a quadriplegia. So
I would say same thing. I mean, if you're recovering from quadriplegia, talk to your physical therapist. But I can't imagine they're not trying to have you do two things that are going to both work your muscles and stimulate your brain. Because when you're dealing with something like quadriplegia, that's one of the things is trying to do is just continue to get nerve stimulation and get that working as much as you can. It reminds me of when a friend of mine sliced his arm with a chainsaw. They just had to do a bunch of nerve things just to keep the nerves alive. But you want anything that's going to do exactly what you just described, is let your foot move and let your toes spread as much as you can. That's what we do.
Let me show you guys this video, and I won't show her face. It was sent to me yesterday because we're going to start working with this little girl. And can you imagine her in a stiff shoe? Like it's mind blowing to me that you wouldn't want this young girl's body to move.
Oh yeah.
Why would you want to put her in a shoe
that doesn't let you feel, doesn't let you move? We have. Let me preface this by saying I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV or the internet. I'm not trying to make a medical claim. This is anecdotal information. We have a friend of ours, a distributor of ours, actually, or dealer of ours, who works with Special Olympics athletes. And he said they've benefited tremendously from having our footwear because they can feel things. And we've had a lot of parents who talk about their kids with ADD or ADHD or autism. They talk about the same thing because they're getting stimulation and it's sort of letting their brain work better. Oh, wow. This is Dana says they don't believe in recovery. If you're referring to your PTs, then you may want to find a PT who believes in recovery. I mean, worst case, is you're not going to be worse off. Best case is, maybe you'll see some improvement. I mean, good luck. I literally can't imagine what it would be like to deal with what you're dealing with.
Oh, she's amazing. She's dealing with it better than I could ever imagine dealing with it. So she's 29 years post injury and regaining movement. Even now, she's still recovering. So I'm amazed by you, Dana. You are a rock star. I appreciate having you in my life. So another question. This one would be for you, Mr. The Brian. Juliet says, Tony, I'm having frozen shoulder all the time. What would help me with that?
Okay, I have two things to think about this. We know that exercise will help, but if you exercise the shoulder, you're absolutely wasting your time. So I know that comes with a big question mark behind it going, well, that's what I've done through regular therapy. Let's just stay on the subject real quick, and then I'll get to the other side of this. And don't let me forget the other side. If and when you free up your foot and ankle, you could free up your shoulder. Now think about that. Remember when I've had you guys stand pigeon-toed, elbows back like this, stand for 1 minute with your quads tight, where you're pulling back and you're standing pigeon-toed with your feet at 45 degrees, you tighten up your thighs, it puts the big arch in your back. And all of a sudden people come out of that and they're going, my jaw pain doesn't hurt anymore. Yeah, because once you can align and re-engage that hip. So staying on the subject of shoe, barefoot, minimalist, I believe you get yourself into a position where your ankle and foot hit the floor the way they're supposed to, which, I can provide. Egoscue is all focused on a hip-driven athlete, feeding the energy down to the foot where to go, feeding the energy through the spine to the shoulders to the head. So this central part, which, Tony, you and I were talking golf before, look, the only time I ever shot a 76 was out here at Morgan Run. And after I'd been doing my exercises, I hadn't played for so long, and I didn't finish that story about Tony Robbins. Same kind of idea. Give me a set of clubs in my hands, and by the third hole, I'm shooting par. Because it's not that I'm good at golf. It's that I knew how to play golf just enough to be dangerous, but my body is not so imbalanced to make golf a problem. So the same thing with this frozen shoulder. Somebody says, I can't move my arm, and this is almost impossible. Well, I believe there's for sure. And who asked this question?
That was Juliet.
So Juliet, I would bet 10 to 1 if she's honest with us right now. Tony, this is your work. What emotion, either before, during, or right now, is going on in her life? Because I promise you, there's almost always something tied to an emotional reaction with a frozen shoulder, which ties us back to clean up your mind, clean up your gut, get your hip working. And now with Steven, we're talking about free up your foot, free up your ankle. So we're looking at all these things to bookend all this kind of stuff. And look, I'm wearing True Dark glasses, right? These are just the newest, coolest.
Those are cool. I still haven't gotten a pair of those. Okay, I gotta get on that.
Wait till you see the red ones. They're just so bitchin'. So these came in the mail yesterday, along with the LED light mat, LED pillow, and the LED board. I'm going to post that here pretty soon to say, this will be an unwrapping. Look what came in the mail, because you do all these little hacks. My opinion is I'm a huge believer in the placebo effect. even if it wasn't bad for me or good for me, I believe it's good for me. So it's going to create goodness. If I believe this, I'm going to have a 12-inch stromboli when we're off this show. Guaranteed. Homemade Italian stromboli. It's going to be amazing.
Use an egg with that.
I refuse to think about it and go, oh, it's going to be shitty and my body's going to suffer. No, you've got to be thankful for what's happening, and you've got to create that world around you. That's why I wanted to introduce you to Xero Shoes. Look, if I had the Vibram guys on the hands, if I could speak Italian or whatever, who owns them now, if I could have them on the show, I would do it too, just to go, look, if you're okay with, looking like that versus way more normal, right? Then you just find what works for you. Hey, buddy. So, just start hacking from if that's one thing that somebody said to me, what do you guys keep doing week after week after week? We're just giving you little things to play with. So that frozen shoulder idea, I don't know. If I were her, I would sit down and go, okay, what am I not handling? But I would also get started on the exercises, because the exercises are the physical anchor for the emotional mental anyway.
You know that's how I got turned on to Egoscue, right, Brian?
You told me that at Paleo, but I wish you would tell Tony this. He would love it.
So I had, let's just call it gymnast shoulder. I was an All-American gymnast way back when, and my right shoulder was toast. And I'd heard about Egoscue. Maybe I picked up Pain Free, the book, I can't remember. But Pete was going to be in town in Boulder, and I went to the event that he was there, and I said, I got this shoulder thing, and I was ready for him to tell me what to do with my shoulder. He goes, hey, stand on this slant board with your back against the wall and tell me what you notice. And I said, well, this is interesting. I noticed that my head's like 3 inches away from the wall. He goes, yeah, I noticed the same thing. So turn your toes in and just stand there until your head is, and your whole body is sort of relaxed against the wall. I went, but I got a shoulder. He goes, yeah, I'll be back in 10 minutes. And so 10 minutes, I mean, I was up there, God knows how long. I think he forgot about me. But by the time he came back, he said, all right, now get off and check your shoulder. And I had like 50% more mobility instantly. Wow. Like, what the?
Amazing.
With zero treatment to the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like magic. I say this all the time, that come and experience Brian, because it's like magic. It's not, but it's like magic, right? Because you just stood there and you have 50% more mobility. What?
I know.
Right? It's like magic.
Yeah.
Even though it's not. I love it. I have a question though, Brian. When you shot that 76, what did you do on the back nine?
And did you hit the windmill?
Hey, you were playing miniature golf. That's 76 isn't that impressive.
Especially since it took me 7 tries to put the ball in the clown's mouth. So that was the problem.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd have been 7 under.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great.
Look, I had to, and I would tell people this all the time: introduce your kids to every sport known to man. My kid just got home because they're playing social distancing baseball, basically, with their friends, and they played the upperclassmen. So he's a senior. The seniors from last year are all home for COVID or the summer, and they were all talking smack on Xbox. And they said, okay, let's go play baseball. So my kid came home. I go, did you win? He goes, seriously? 23-8 and 15-7. I'm like, of course, you're my kid. You win. I get it. My brainwashed him when he was younger. You're a Bradley. You're a winner. But I will tell you, he didn't play baseball. He quit baseball right around 13 because he goes, Dad, nothing's coming to the outfield. I'm done. I'm going to focus on soccer. Great. So he got into the D1.
Oh, technology.
I'm getting to understand that playing baseball rotationally, both of those counter rotations will make you a better soccer player. Think about that. If you want to become a better soccer player, then go play baseball. Now, that's a Jack Nicklaus quote from somebody asking him 25, 30 years ago, Mr. Nicklaus, I've been playing golf 3-6 hours a day. I want to be the next Jack Nicklaus. What do I do? And he said, son, put down the golf clubs and throw a football.
Wow.
I have a totally different Jack Nicklaus story for you. So my first girlfriend, her dad was
this one. I am worried about
my first girlfriend. Her dad was president of the PGA, and so he told me the story. He used to play with Jack and with Arnie Palmer, and he said, the thing about being on tour is it's just so mentally exhausting. And by the end of the tour, I mean, you are just fried. You can't think. I mean, you're completely incapacitated. He says Jack is in the bathroom at some airport. He's taking a pee, and a guy comes next to him and is standing next to him and looks over. He's like, oh my God, are you Jack Nicklaus? And he goes, yes.
That's the best. I'm the guy that if the three of us were in, I was in the middle, and we'd all be peeing. It's that elevator science because nobody wants to talk. I'd look over and go, "Hey, nice watch."
I have friends who they're brothers, and one of them they love playing practical jokes on the other, and one of them, his whole thing is when his brother's in the bathroom, he'll go line up next to him if there's other people around, and he'll look over and say nice, but he doesn't follow it with watch.
Listen, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. Bottom line, I've got a line too. That I say. This is where all the hang out, because that's true.
Yeah.
Or we all get hashtags after this. Dana, I'm so sorry. Natalie, I'm so sorry. Julia, we're so sorry.
I didn't say anything. It's just listen. This is the last 2 minutes of the show is going to turn into comedy hour. Well, anyway, listen, we are approaching the top of the hour, so to be mindful and respectful of everyone, especially after all those off-color jokes, I just want to remind everyone to check out Brian Bradley at. Go ahead, give us the website, Brian.
Egoscue.com, egoscue.com/digital, and it'll tell you that you're going to be talking to people. Just right in there, you came from Tony. Like Juliet, if she said, "Can you guys at least take a look and tell me what you think is with the frozen shoulder?" Myself or I have staff that'll be willing for sure. Our new logo, our new tagline is, "Let me take a look." Because if I can take a look, it's massive. Because now you're going to get the truth. Because when you see your photographs compared to what you think you look like, it's a completely different story.
Awesome. And hold on a second. I'm just putting your Instagram here. So follow Brian on the Brian Bradley on Instagram. And for Xero Shoes, hold on, let me just put that up. For Xero Shoes.
The Brian Bradley, because Brian Bradley was taken by the player at the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I'm really not that narcissistic. So
That's funny.
All right, so Xero Shoes, XEROshoes.com, right?
That's us.
Awesome. How about Instagram? Do you want any?
Yeah, we're basically at Xero Shoes or /Xero Shoes anywhere that you would go.
Xero with
/Xero Shoes. Yes, XERO Shoes. I have a long story about Xero. And then Facebook.com/Xero Shoes, and et cetera, et cetera. Just, you can find us pretty much everywhere.
Awesome. So follow these guys, find them, follow them. They're both out there changing the world, changing lives. And I appreciate both of you gentlemen coming on and sharing a little bit of your time today. Again, I'm always grateful for people who give up of their time, because that's the one thing that you can't get back once you've given it away. So thank you for coming on here. And for all of you that are watching, thank you for watching today. And even though we only did the one exercise today with the shoulder, well, actually we did two, right? We did the one.
We didn't do any exercise.
We didn't. You showed two of them.
Yeah, but they are required to go back and look at the last 6 episodes and pick the ones they want.
That exercise.
You're committed to yourself.
Yeah, we've got exercises in all prior 6 episodes. You can find all those episodes on YouTube. You can also find them on Facebook. So go back and check all of those out. Today we did bring in Steve to tell us about Xero Shoes and to tell us about the magic that is, minimalist shoes and walking, and the benefits of that. Because so often, it's funny because I have had those shoes with the extra cushion and they feel really good, but after a while, I can't wear them anymore because it hurts. It bothers me. I'm just not comfortable. So to be mindful and, like I said, respectful of everyone, I want to just thank you guys and just you guys hang on there. But I want to just thank everyone for watching. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Thank you for going on to YouTube and subscribing. And like I said, tag your friends, share this video with all that you think may benefit from it. Check out Xero Shoes. Check out Egoscue. And check us out. We're back on Monday with Marketing Mondays with Scott Martin. And remember, my friends, that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall. And when you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. And remember that when you fall, you learn. And when you get up, you grow. And every one of us has the opportunity after a fall to get up and grow. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching. Steve, thank you for coming on. Brian, you're a freaking rock star. Appreciate you. And I hope you enjoyed that honey and scrambled eggs I sent you.
Bro, listen, Steven, he sent me a dozen eggs that just were laid from his hens, and he sent them across the country. And I got and the honey's covered in like 4 eggs. I'm going, and they were the bright orange eggs where you're going, oh my God, these are the best eggs.
Well, you got 8 survivors. I sent him over to Joseph McClendon as well. He hasn't gotten his. I'm like, listen, Brian suffered 4 casualties. He's like, what happened to Brian? I'm like, no. It's just the package I sent him. Anyway, all right. We'll continue this on after the show. Everyone, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Ciao for now.
Bye, guys.